everybody. My name is Zuri. Welcome back to the Beauty and Brains podcast with Dr. Zuri Dale. On the Beauty and Brains podcast, we talk about all things art, science, health, and wellness. And we are here today with Taylor the Esti. And I'm so excited to be talking about skincare trends. I feel like we all have jumped on this skincare bandwagon. Some of those are facts, some is fiction, some is myth, some may be misconception. A lot of it is just stuff that's going viral. And we'll be talking about all of those things in between. But before we get into the podcast, I'm going to play a game.
Okay.
I'm going to play a game. And you know what? I'm actually not going to ask you any of these skincare related questions because I feel like you know all the answers to these.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you. This is a good one. This is easy actually. Okay, fact or fiction? Tell me, fact. So is this true or is this false? This 10,000 steps a day goal was created as a marketing gimmick. Is that fact or is that fiction?
I think it's fiction.
That is actually fact. So it's the 10,000 steps a day is actually very arbitrary, right? It's not like a set thing. It originated from a 1960s Japanese pedometer campaign, not necessarily scientific research.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But we're all walking our 10,000 steps a day. But yeah,
to.
so I know, right? Okay, so here's another one. Okay, this is a good one for you. So expensive skincare products work better than drugstore brands. True or false?
False.
That is false. That is false. That is very, very true. A lot of these drugstore products have the same active ingredients as some of the more expensive ones.
They do. The formulations may be different.
But the ingredients
themselves. The ingredients themselves pretty much can be the same. Or maybe the list of ingredients and how, they've been put together.
Right. And for how it's formulated, right? And the ratios of this to this may be different, but the active ingredient may be the same.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one more. The scent of lavender can help reduce stress and improve sleep. Is that true or false?
True.
That is actually true.
Very true.
Lavender is one that has been scientifically studied for its calming properties. Okay, so if you're having trouble sleeping, spraying a little lavender on your pillow, a little lavender incense actually might help. So good. Thank you. So before we start, I want to ask you one more question, and I'll give you time to process this. What are you happiest about right now?
I'm happiest right now about kind of taking back control of my life.
Okay, tell me more.
Lessening my plates.
Okay.
I have actually just recently resigned from my position as an instructor at Houston Community College.
Okay.
Just to focus more on myself, more on my business and my family. I needed to scale back a little bit and put my priorities in place. And although I absolutely love teaching and I'm going to miss it right now, I had to prioritize my family and my health.
Yeah. Take it from me. One thing I know something about is doing too much. So I'm happy for you. Was that a hard decision to make?
It was an extremely hard decision. Very, very hard
How long have you been there?
3 years.
Ooh, that's actually a long time in the academic world because that's like 8 semesters. 6 semesters. It's like you say 3 years, but it's like, no, that's a bunch of different students you get to see come and go. I'm proud of you. What did you teach?
Aesthetics.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I had no idea about that.
Yep.
Aww. But you know what? There's still space for you to go back if you ever
It is. I know that I can go back. And I'm sure that I will, just not right now.
All right, so we're going to get into all of the things, okay? So I feel like skincare, okay, we got to name a thing. I feel like TikTok has kind of blown up a lot of stuff, okay? And I feel like with TikTok and with social media, there have been just a bunch of viral skincare trends, okay? And I want to know which ones are truly game changers and which ones are just a part of the hype. What is one trend that actually works? So one that works, one game changer, and one trend that people should avoid. Like it's like, you know what? This is viral. Y'all just talking. This is not even a thing.
I'm going to say the ones that we need to avoid is the homemade skincare.
Girl, they love mixing up some coffee beans.
Listen, they will get some turmeric, some coffee beans, and some honey and swear that they have made the best mask. And it's really just because I see so many clients coming into my practice that have damaged their skin because of the homemade skincare trends that they followed. Well, such and such said, just mix a little lemon and a little honey, and it's going to brighten my skin. And now your whole barrier is compromised. So, and it takes a lot to restore the skin.
To restore it.
So that's definitely one I would say needs to go. And then one that should be, it's, estheticians are a trend now.
Estheticians are a trend. Okay, not you shutting yourself out. So we're going to keep the esthetician.
We're going to keep the esthetician.
We're going to do away with the homemade skincare.
Seek a professional.
I like how you did that there. Okay. All right. So you know what? Here's the thing. The reason why I invited you to the show, like, you are not just any esthetician, though. Like, there are very few people that I truly feel like are experts in their craft, right? And I only say that. I say that because there are just a lot of people, I feel like now, in a lot of industries, particularly in beauty. Not that I think that they're oversaturated, but with it being so many people, I feel like it becomes harder to stand out amongst those people. But you are actually one who stands out to me as a person who is truly just an expert in their field, the way you educate. I know you speak a lot, speaking games. And I feel like you recently did Bronner's Brothers, right?
I did.
You did Bronner's Brothers in New Orleans. Last year, that was 2024. And I've been to your practice before. Everything is so nice. It's so professional. And so, I actually admire the way you run your business. You actually gave me some advice while I'm sitting there trying to get my facial. So I want to ask you, because I feel like, and I know that you are an expert, okay? So some of these trends, they come and go, right? Sure. Don't let the esthetician come and go. That one is here to stay. But some of these trends, they come and go. What is one major shift that you've noticed in the industry over the past year, just as a whole? What is like one major shift?
One major shift, I'm going to just take it back to social media, to TikTok, honestly. Like, TikTok is the new Google, right? So many people are finding the experts on social media. They're finding the new way of taking care of their skin on social media. It's just, I don't think it's a gift and a curse, right?
It's just so much information. It's becoming more difficult to separate fact from fiction, for sure. Especially on TikTok. I mean, people feel like TikTok is gold.
They do. They do. They do. And to some degree it can be, right? Like, we can totally go on there real quick and find an amazing recipe for dinner tonight to, that may be a 3-minute recipe real quick versus back when we were going on YouTube and it take them 30 minutes.
45 minutes. Girl, how much pepper are you putting in this spaghetti?
Just get
and
to
why
the point.
You don't have it in the comments?
Yeah. So because of, I guess, the microwave society, TikTok gets to the results that we're looking for much faster.
Yeah, that is true. So I'm a woman of color. You're a woman of color. One thing I have seen is the rise in women of color who are taking better care of themselves in comparison to previous generations. I feel like overwhelmingly, like, women who are in my age group are just doing things that our parents didn't necessarily do, and it could have been resources, lack of education, whatever the case was. But we are really out here romanticizing our lives. Like, we are getting facials. We are going to the nail shop frequently. We're even like learning how to do our own hair just so it stays done. But we are getting massages. I mean, Pilates, aerial yoga. We are really out here like trying to take care of ourselves. But when it comes to skin, I feel like there is still this very delicate relationship between women of color and skin. Because so many of the products that we use to maybe lighten a dark mark or increase cell turnover have skin lightening properties, right? And so I know that the use of those products has to be intentional in order for that not to happen. So there are still so many myths about skincare for people of color. What is one misconception about the skin of a woman of color that you wish more people knew about? Tell our audience and for the people who are listening.
When the beautiful saying, black don't crack, is a big misconception. We may not crack, especially when it compares to our counterparts, right? You'll see more actual cracking in their skin, but in a woman of color, there are definitely still signs of aging that we need to be prepare for, if you will. So there's sagging, there's larger pore sizes that increases. There are aging spots, which are forms of hyperpigmentation that appears in our skin that sometimes we aren't really aware of. And we just think that, oh, black skin forever looks good. And we do. But there are still ways to prioritize our health to make sure that it looks better over time.
Yeah. That black don't crack. You know what's funny about that is I've spoken to people who've said, I don't need all that stuff on my face. I just a little water. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know that they say, you know, what we used to say, water is God's drink. That's how we grew up.
Yeah.
So just put your little water. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't really know that water does as much to hydrate the face as we think it does. As a matter of fact, I don't think it hydrates the face really at all.
No.
But it's like we're out here still using water and just our regular dial soap and saying, that's all I need. I don't need a 5-step, 6-step type of skincare routine. So can you tell us, and this is without mentioning like specific products. You can if you want to. But what is the exact order of the steps?
Of applying your skincare?
Of applying your skincare product.
So you want to start with the cleanser. The cleanser is going to be based on your personal skin needs. If you're oily, you may want to find a foamy cleanser. If you're dry, your cleanser may be something that's more, has ceramides in it, that's creamier. Hydrating, right? And then after a cleanser, a toner is not necessary. It depends on the cleanser.
What does the toner do? Can you help me understand that?
So
That's toner, more like a liquid most of the time.
It is. Most times a toner is a liquid, and it can do different things. There are toners for pigmentation. There are toners for oil management of the skin. There are hydrating toners. But most times the toner, the whole purpose is to really rebalance the pH levels of the skin.
pH level of the
Right.
skin. Okay.
So it really may be based on the cleanser that you're using, right? If the cleanser is more stripping and is lowering the pH levels of the skin,
you need something that's
then you
more
need
alkaline
something
to bring it
absolutely.
up. See, I got it. I got it a little bit. I got a little bit.
You do. So just a cleanser, toner. Serums are more so something that are specific for what your skin is going through. A serum is an added touch, right? So it may be something if you need a little bit more hydration in the skin, if you need something specific for hyperpigmentation or age management, you can add in a serum. But for most parts, it's cleanser, toner, moisturizer, and of course, sunscreen. Yeah.
So is it true? And well, this is the way I've heard it described, that you want to apply your products from like the thinnest to the thickest?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's something TikTok.
Yeah.
Thinnest to the thickest, thinnest to the thickest. And we'll talk a little bit about skincare too, because I want us to release the stronghold that we have against sunscreen.
Please.
In terms of us not needing the sunscreen. All right, so everyone now is talking about retinols, vitamin C, peptides. What ingredients do you think are truly essential for melanated skin? So we know the order of the products. Now I want to talk about like specific ingredients. You talked about ceramides for hydration. But what are some other specific ingredients that are truly essential for melanated skin?
All of which you just mentioned, right? I love retinoids, vitamin C, great antioxidants for the skin. Peptides. Peptides are going to be the foundation of the skin, the structure of the skin. We need peptides. Peptides are more so rich, so probably more beneficial to those with drier skin.
Okay.
But it helps with boosting the moisture levels of the skin, which are going to help with the foundation of the skin, right? Retinoids. You can always, a vitamin A is chef's kiss.
Okay, so a vitamin A is a retinoid?
Yes, a vitamin A is a retinoid.
And what do retinoids do?
Retinoids are going to help with that. It's just a multifunctional product.
Is that like tretinoin? Is that a retinoid? Retinol?
It is. So tretinoin is a stronger, more prescriptive level of a retinoid. But vitamin A is already something that our bodies produce, right? But it gets depleted by like the sun and things like that. We are already for sure in like hot Houston. And so the more sun exposure we have, that vitamin A gets depleted from our bodies and we want to replenish it. So vitamin A helps with problematic skin. If you're suffering with acne, it can be beneficial. If you're suffering from age management, It can be beneficial with improving pigmentation, the collagen elasticity of the skin. It is just a multifunctional product ingredient that just works well for everyone. Now, there are different strengths of it that we have to be mindful for, but it is a very good product for everyone to use.
What's your
or
favorite?
ingredient.
What's your favorite one right now? Favorite product containing retinol?
Favorite product containing retinol. So right now I'm in love with a brand called Environ.
Environ.
Environ is a vitamin A rich product line. That is the whole sole purpose
of the line.
It was created by a physician who had a couple patients that passed away from skin cancer.
Okay.
And he found that the vitamin A was something that they were lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Their vitamin A levels were extremely low, and he created this line. And so I've been testing it out for probably about 6 months now.
Okay.
And I can totally see the difference in my skin alone, and my skin is already healthy.
Okay.
But I can totally see the improvement from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about products or practices that we should leave behind? I know that we already spoke about like the at-home care and trying to mix up some of those ingredients. What are some ingredients or products that you think are not best? Or don't quite do the job that they promote themselves to do?
Honestly, I think it's really just making sure that the formulations, which is hard to tell a consumer,
Who doesn't have the subject matter expertise.
Right. It's a lot of trial and error, honestly. I won't say that one thing is not good because it depends on your skin. The more concerns, issues, problematic your skin is, the more care you'll need to take for your skin, the more products you may need to use. If you have pretty decent skin that's even toned, there's no areas of true concern, you can totally go with just simple routine.
Okay.
Cleanser and moisturizer and sunscreen and be totally fine with just that. But you'll need to add more into your routine, the more things that need to be improved in your skin.
Yeah. So, this concept of sunscreen. So, more brands are making sunscreens for deeper skin tones, yet many still believe that persons who have melanated skin do not need any sort of SPF. So, what are your thoughts on how sunscreen should be used daily and why?
Sunscreen should be applied every day. Sometimes it's necessary throughout the day to reapply multiple times. It's vital. It is the most important product that we can apply to our skin daily. It's affecting our skin, or it's helping our skin to kind of lessen the aging effects. The sun is the most effective form of aging. And so many people are like, oh, I don't go outside, oh, I'm never in the sun.
Yeah, but the sun is coming through the window.
The sun is coming
UV
through the
rays
window.
are penetrating.
Absolutely, absolutely. The rays are still coming into your homes.
Yes.
And so it's the UVA rays, right, that are affecting the aging of our skin. It's also the UVB rays that are causing skin cancer, which a lot of us of color don't believe that skin cancer is real for us, and it definitely is. And then we also have these new rays that are being formed by the blue light. So many people who work virtually or remote from home, they don't think that it affects them because, oh, well, I just work inside all day. Well, now studies are showing that there's damage caused to our skin from the blue lights from our devices. From our devices, yeah. So sunscreen. Having a sunscreen that is broad spectrum is key to ensure that we're protecting our skin and reapplying every 2 to 3 hours.
So I saw on TikTok, not sure how true this is, when it's time to like measure how much sunscreen you need, like we'll do like a little dial up, a little thing in our hand. And apparently like that's not nearly enough. Now, is this true that you need like the length of like 3 feet? This could be some crazy TikTok stuff, but the length of like 3 fingers to indicate that if you truly put this amount, then you're actually getting SPF 70, right? Because whatever that SPF number is a function of you applying the correct volume of product. I saw this on TikTok, so this is not right?
No.
Oh my God, I know y'all have seen the 3 things.
Yeah, no.
Have you seen that?
I have seen it. You just need to make sure that you're applying at least a SPF 30 or higher.
30
and broad spectrum
Okay.
sunscreen. So as long as it's SPF 30, you're getting the full coverage. You want to make sure that you're applying it completely, right? From hairline, your ears, your neck, even the backs of your hands. Those are the most important areas. The skin on the hands is so much thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And the aging is definitely affected by our hands.
Yeah, you can
especially
definitely
if we're driving.
You can see it in the hand.
Yeah, you can. So
Yeah.
just making sure that the sunscreen is in SPF 30 and that it completely covers your face, your ears, your neck, you'll be fine.
Do my hands look young?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Actually, they do.
I'm just making. If
They
you saw
do.
my hands, how old would you think I'm?
Youthful. You look
Yeah,
youthful.
okay, good. I look youthful. The hands look okay. Okay. I've seen, again, this may just be a viral trend where they're now having like the mask, like the collagen mask for your hands. So
They
it's
are.
the mask with the product in it, and then you put your hands in.
Yeah.
It's like you sit it for 15 minutes. And
They have the LED mask.
that you're supposed to be
put your
concerned
hands
about the
in.
hands.
Yeah.
That the hands are very telling about
They
how
are.
you're. So y'all take care of your hands,
Please.
okay?
Please.
Put it on your face, but put that sunscreen on y'all's hand. But I never
Absolutely.
thought about the fact that when you're driving,
that
is like direct exposure to the
exposure.
sun.
Yep.
Direct exposure. So I'm interested in your thoughts on this because I believe at least one of these services you don't do. And I remember this from coming to your practice and you telling me that you don't do them. I believe you told me. So chemical peels, microneedling, and laser therapy. If I'm correct, you don't do chemical peels, right?
I do.
You do chemical peels?
I do chemical peels.
Do you do invasive chemical peels?
I do.
Okay, you do. So maybe it was something else you told me that you
laser.
didn't do. Okay.
I don't offer laser. I have my laser license, but I don't offer laser treatments. But yeah, microneedling I offer as well.
So do you consider these services to be safe for individuals of color? I feel like with the chemical peel thing, I feel like we still need a little bit more education. I get chemical peels. I know a number of people who get chemical peels, but I have seen negative commentary about chemical peels in terms of that's lightening y'all skin and y'all getting these peels because of, and so what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I love chemical peels.
I do too. I love me a good peel. Let me a good peel
peels.
back.
Listen.
Lift this first layer off.
Please. All of the above, right? The laser, the chemical peels, microneedling are all beautiful treatments for skin of color in moderation. So making sure that your provider, your therapist, or whomever is providing the service is skilled in that service and knows the difference between skin of color and someone who doesn't have skin of color and how to properly treat the skin. There are certain chemical peels that provide better results for skin of color than others. For example, mandelic serum and TCAs, those are beautiful chemical peels for skin of color, right? So we can totally go higher in the percentage of those chemical peels versus like a glycolic chemical peel. So there are ones that are more beneficial and are safer for skin of color than others, but all of them are beautiful. A YAG laser is the laser that they want to inquire about if you're receiving.
And not a Pico.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, for sure.
Have you heard of like the vampire facial?
Yep.
Or like Morpheus 8? What are your thoughts on that? I got that done twice. What are your thoughts on that?
So I have not experienced the treatment, of course, myself, but I think it's a great procedure. The Morpheus 8 is supposed to help with healing acne.
Yes, it is. And so it's almost like the best way for me to describe it is it's a deeper micro needle where they take this apparatus, this hand tool, and they're almost like stamping the face, and you can increase the frequency of it, and the needles can go deeper in the skin. But it's supposed to give you like a complete resurfacing because you're creating hundreds and hundreds of puncture wounds in the face. So I actually did get that done.
Okay.
And I feel like it was positive, but it wasn't anything that I regularly incorporated in my beauty routine. For one, it's expensive. It's expensive.
But it should be a one and done. It really should be something that your skin truly benefits from so that you're not having to deal with the acne, for example, resurfacing.
Yeah, I think it was positive, but it's one of those things where it's just not sustainable, right? It's not like a sustainable skincare solution for me. So something like a microneedling is probably a bit more affordable than like $1,000 facial. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
And really, truly, especially if we're speaking on whether it be acne or hyperpigmentation, for example, hyperpigmentation is a result of something else. So finding out what the source is for the hyperpigmentation so that you don't have to go back down that hole again, right? Or even acne, really trying to figure out what your source is, what your trigger is that's causing the acne, address the trigger so that the acne doesn't surface.
Continue. Right. And even for me, I'm noticing like as I get older, I'm becoming allergic to things that I used to not be allergic to. And so widely, most of us are lactose intolerant, but we just continue to consume
'Cause we
dairy
love it.
products and we're not really thinking about the impact the dairy products have on us. We're still just consuming them.
Yeah.
And we may not notice that, okay, like I ate a bunch of cheese, but a week later, I had a couple of acne bumps pop up, and in our mind we're not associating the two, but vastly and generally people are lactose intolerant. But I'm noticing as I age, there are some foods that have become more inflammatory for me, and the more that I eat certain foods, the more that I'm noticing changes like in my skin.
But that's good that you're even paying attention to your body, right? When we have a upset stomach, when we are having breakouts, those are indications that something is going on that the body is not pleased with. We need to figure out what triggered it. Something triggered it for you to have these breakouts, for you to have your stomach be upset. And back to what you just said, right? We just have our vices, our favorite choices of food, and we love them. And we're like, it's okay, I'll just push through the discomfort.
Just so I can eat the cheese anyway.
Yeah.
So what role does nutrition play in healthy skin though?
Oh, nutrition is everything. Nutrition is everything. We're speaking on skin, right? Our largest organ. So your skin is the only organ that we can actually physically see the damage that our bodies are causing, right? Like the foods that we're intaking, everything and how it digests, how we the foods that we consume, whether it's healthy or not, right? That's already important. How the foods are grown or where they're grown or sourced and things like that, how they're prepared. And then once it gets into our body, our digestive tract may not digest them properly. And that will show up as congestion in the skin, inflammation.
Yeah, this idea of the link between the gut microbiome and the skin is
real.
Something that I feel like we don't talk enough about. Can you share a little bit more about that? This phenomenon that what you eat shows up.
It matters. I'll tell anyone, clean up your diet. Clean up your diet. If you don't believe it, just try it for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, clean up your diet, eat whole foods, leafy greens, all vegetables, reduce the amount of dairy, like what you're saying, because there are certain foods that just are triggers for inflammation in the body. When we see those imperfections showing up in our skin, it's because your body is telling you that it does not like something. So microbiome is huge. You know, the probiotics to help de-cleanse the body, right? Omega fatty acids to replenish some of those healthy fats and proteins that we need to restore the body, to restore the skin. All of those are important because our diet is not up to par and where it should be. So implementing those supplements
in order to supplement
supplement your diet. Absolutely.
Supplement our diet. So I spoke a little bit about this, when I talked about when we played our game at the beginning, like this fact versus fiction, this idea of drugstore brands versus some of the more expensive brands. Can you tell our audience, for the people who are watching and listening, what are some affordable, high quality skin must-haves that actually work? And I'm just going to say, let's talk drugstore, because that's even playing field. What are some high-quality drugstore products?
So, disclaimer, I have not, I just had this conversation with someone last week. I have not used a drugstore brand in probably about 10 years.
Okay.
However, I do know that I've seen others who have used the brands and had good results, good success with these brands. So, I've seen some people use Good Molecules.
Okay, yes.
Good Molecules. I've seen one of my aesthetic students, actually. She was in school. Her skin was extremely problematic at the time. Very inflamed and non-inflamed acne. A lot of hyperpigmentation. And she just graduated maybe 2 years ago. Actually, December, I think, made a year. And her skin is beautiful now. And so she used like La Roche-Posay cleansers. And I don't know exactly what all she had. But she also told me that she used Good Molecules as well. So I've seen
and those
people
are more
who have
affordable
been,
brands. What about CeraVe? I hear a lot about CeraVe. I don't know. I've never used it.
I don't believe that CeraVe is powerful enough.
Okay.
Now, if you have non-problematic skin, right, then of course you can totally use CeraVe and it will be a great line for you.
CeraVe.
CeraVe.
It's CeraVe? Okay, CeraVe. Thank you.
It can totally be a great line for someone with non-problematic skin. But I do not think that it is powerful enough as far as the potency of the ingredients.
It's certainly not a medical grade product.
It's not.
Okay, so looking ahead, what do you think is the next big thing in skincare that you think will benefit women of color the most? So what's on the horizon? What's out there in the tech atmosphere? What's out there? What is the next big thing?
To be honest, it's been around, but skin of color, women of color probably haven't partaked in it, and kind of we still are frowning at Botox and fillers.
Girl, not me. I'm smiling.
The threading.
Hold on. Do y'all see that smile? Do y'all see this? I'm smiling at Botox and filler. I'm not frowning at Botox and filler. I'm smiling at a good Botox.
I have even had a conversation with my mom about it. She's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm like, girl, get with it.
Mama, please.
Get with it.
Mama, please.
It's nothing wrong with enhancing our beauty. No. I believe in that wholeheartedly. You're not transforming your skin. And I think that's the thing that we see. So many people, especially celebrities and stuff, that don't look like what they looked like last year. That's not what we're doing, right? We're not completely. We're just enhancing. We're just improving a few imperfections. That's all, right? And so I don't think it's anything wrong with it.
And you know what's so funny about this, and I feel like this is definitely going to be a trend in like one of the later episodes that we're going to be showing on Beauty and Brains podcast. We'll be talking about Botox and fillers. But this idea that if I get enhancements, I don't like the way that God made me. And these are things that are not, these are mutually exclusive things, right? I can like the way that God made me, but still appreciate marvels in modern medicine and want to take advantage of.
We all, whether we want to admit or not, we all have some type of flaw about ourselves that we perceive as a flaw.
That we perceive, right? Not that other people that we perceive
that we would like to enhance or improve. And there's nothing wrong with it.
It's nothing wrong. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know what? I want to kind of say this. Some of these or everything is not necessarily a cosmetic enhancement. Now, I will get Botox on other areas of the face, but in particular, I get it in my jaw muscles to relax my muscle. I'm a teeth grinder. And so I think that people need to be much more educated about some of the uses of these products clinically, because it's not just about removing your smile lines. No. It's not just about getting rid of wrinkles in your forehead. Albeit, I do not want wrinkles in my forehead. But it's not just about getting rid of the wrinkles in your forehead. Like, they have actual clinical use that we could benefit from if we just gave some of these things a chance.
I worked in surgery for 15 years before becoming a surgical, before becoming an esthetician. I worked as a surgical technologist, and we use Botox in the operating room all the time to help with some of our patients that had incontinence. So to help them with like their leaky bladders and things. There would always be patients coming in. They help with the sweaty hands and sweaty feet, right? It's just relaxing a muscle. Something that's overproductive or overactive is all the Botox is doing.
And it actually helped me with my acne. So getting the Botox in my jawline improved my skin. I mean, it's like, guys, make this a part of your treatment plan.
It's lessening that overproductive oil.
Right. That is so true. I'm so happy that you brought that up. Because that is something that I feel like more women of color would participate in if it were not for the negative commentary surrounding the use of some of those products. And that is why we have to utilize our platforms also to educate. And that's something that you do very, very well.
Thank you,
outside of just providing the services, but actually informing our community, particularly women of color, about the benefits of some of those. Okay, so before we stop, we have just a few more minutes left in this episode. I want to ask you one question. It's actually a bit personal. It's about what book are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading The 12-Week Year.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Okay, tell our audience about it.
Okay, So the 12-week year is by a gentleman named Brian Moran, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. It's really just to get laser focused. So many of us think about prioritizing our to-do list, thinking that, especially this the new year, it's 2025. I want to get laser focused. Okay, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to, read a book every day, instead of, and lessen my time instead of social media, all the things that we say we're going to do in the new year. But it's really just not thinking that you have a long year. It doesn't require a year to achieve whatever.
Most of these things.
Yeah, it doesn't require a year to get laser focused and achieve a goal. You really only need 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And so thinking about the year in a 12-week time span to accomplish whatever goal it is that you have.
Yeah, so, and I'm actually operating according to the principles of the 12-week year right now.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I did in December is that I made my Q1 plan, and I said, whatever goes on this Q1 plan between January and March, like I'm not adding anything to it. I'm not taking anything. I'm getting laser focused just on these things.
Yep.
So the idea is that a lot of these goals that we have, they are not so lofty that it takes 365 days to accomplish.
Right.
A lot of these things we really and truly could do in 12 weeks if you sat down and planned it. Now, another recommendation that I have in line with the 12-week year is ClickUp. So ClickUp can be a supplement to the 12-week year. ClickUp is an online website that allows you to plan the 12 weeks. So you can plan the 12 weeks, but then you can plan what's happening within each of the 12 weeks.
Okay.
And you can actually click them off that you've accomplished these things.
So like a to-do list, a digital to-do list.
It's almost like a digital to-do list, but it kind of operates in alignment with the quarter of the year, which is 12 weeks.
Right.
And what I like about it is that you can collaborate with other people on some of the things. So say, for example, if I had the podcast as one of my things, I could actually collaborate that one with you, and then we check it all together because that's something that we're doing together. So that's a really good one. That's such a good book suggestion. I really like that one. One that I recommend is F Your Feelings. F Your Feelings.
So I've heard of that one.
F Your Feelings is really, really good. Just before we have just 2 minutes left. But F Your Feelings is about the idea that most of the things that we do and don't do are because of how we feel.
Yeah.
And so when you really look at it and take a daily assessment of your life, or your day, the majority of things that you did or didn't do in that day were attached to feelings, not intention.
Okay.
So if you went to work out that morning, if you did go, it was because you felt like it. If you didn't, it was because you didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
If you did your makeup, it was because you felt like it. If you didn't, it was generally because you didn't feel like it. And so it makes you realize that so many of the things that we are doing, we're being led by feeling and not intentionality.
Yeah.
So it's like once I realized that feeling, right? That's an emotion. Like feeling like doing something, like that's fleeting, but I'm allowing how I feel to dictate so much of my productivity. And so it just really had you reflect on how intentional are you?
Yeah.
Is most of the things we do and don't do. And I think they give a statistic that about 95% of what we do and don't do is really attached to feeling. And we need to be aware of that.
I believe that.
Change it.
I love that. That'll be my next read then.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you so much for your time on the Beauty and Brains podcast.
Thank you for having me,
I'm so excited
honored
that you decided to come and talk with us about these skincare trends. I will make sure that I am dropping Taylor's information in the comments so that you all can check her out and book with her. I have gotten her services before. She is an amazing esthetician. I want you guys to go and book with her. Shout out to the Beauty and Brains podcast team. I am the host, Dr. Zuri Dale. Sacred Stone Media and Production on the audio visual, and Tina Bass at TB the Brand Strategist is the producer. Thank you, and we will see you all on the next episode.